Hello and welcome to Gilmore's Glorious Gossip, a show dedicated to Critical Role over on the Geek and Sundry Twitch channel. Welcome to everybody joining us live, and don't worry if you can't stay, we'll be posting this on Monday as is our norm. Many thanks again to Akuma Mika at EmmaFrost91 for our logo and helping me with that troll last week. Don't worry, it's not going to happen this week. But this week features 3 more amazing artists. The current art you're seeing is from Simona Depril. I hope I said that correctly. Twitter handle is at Alexiel April, ALEXIELAPRIL. And later you'll be seeing pieces from Raelian. I hope I'm saying this correctly. At Raelian, RAYELIANN. And finally, you'll be seeing a piece by Phelan at Silmeri, SILMEARI. If you'd like to have your art featured here, please let any of the show's hosts know via Twitter, or you can let us know via the official Twitter at Gilmore_Gossip. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can catch us each and every week. I'm Akiva, found on Twitter at AkivaDavid, AKIVADAPHYDD, and joining me today are my excellent friends. Let's introduce ourselves and tell us, what was your very first thoughts when you first watched an episode of Critical Role?
Hello everybody, Cosmic Candy here, otherwise known as Kalia, I guess. I did it backwards this week. Yay, English. Off to a great start. First thoughts about watching an episode of Critical Role. I was really blown away by Matt's storytelling. Because I've played D&D for years, but at that point when I found Critical Role, I hadn't played for about 7. Hadn't played or run anything for about 7 years. So it really gave me an excuse to get back into D&D again. And it was Matt's storytelling that pushed me and said, hey, you can do this. You can do that well. And so I found the local D&D Adventurers League group here, and we've been doing it since.
Yay!
That's fantastic. Hi guys, I'm Kat or Kitten Smitten G on Twitter. I really like this question because, and it's come up a little bit recently, the first time I ever watched Critical Role, I hated it.
What?
I absolutely hated it. I could not stand it. I watched the very first episode when it first aired on Twitch, on Geek and Sundry. I was actively playing D&D. I've been playing since just the end of 4th edition into 5th. I found it via Acquisitions Incorporated, so I watched one of their live packs and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, this looks like so much fun. And that's how I found D&D. So I've been playing it for a little while. And when I saw this show on Twitch, I thought, Dungeons and Dragons. I love Dungeons and Dragons. Let's check it out. And I went in and I watched it for about an hour. And I thought, this is just trying too hard. The sound quality's terrible. Production quality's awful. I can't watch this. I'm done. And I switched to another show. So what brought me back? I've been watching a ton of roleplay shows because roleplay is my life. I do a lot of roleplay outside of Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop games, and I'd run out of shows to watch, and I had all of this ironing to do, and I'm like, I need something, and I just finished watching Titan's Grave because I follow Will Wheaton because I'm a massive Star Trek fan. And so I was watching Titan's Grave, and I thought, that's all right, but it was very show production, you know. I thought, well, it was interesting, but I really loved Laura Bailey. I'm like, oh my god, who is this girl? She's beautiful. I love her smile. Her character's amazing. This chick, I just love her. And so then I looked, because I needed something else to watch. I thought, well, what else is she in? Critical
Mhm.
Role. And then I thought, oh, that's that show. I didn't like that show. Oh, I suppose I've got nothing else to watch. I'll give it a go. And so I started watching it again, and I still didn't like it. And it took about 3 episodes before I realized I'm binge watching this though. Why am I still watching this? Why can't I turn it off?
So it became a
You
guilty
know what
pleasure
it
for you.
yeah, you know what it was? And I've realized this kind of now looking back on it. Inside, I had this little inner child that had been pushed down so deep because I work a very stressful job. I've got a mortgage, I've got real life responsibilities, and I had this inner child just screaming to be let out. This person that used to sing and used to draw and used to read and write and do all of these fun things. And so while I was watching this show, while subconsciously I was thinking, I don't like the show, this inner child was like, please keep watching. Please keep watching. You need this. You need this to find your inner child again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, whenever, and I've had a couple of people say to me, oh, I've tried to watch Critical Role and I just couldn't get into it. Just stick with it. Just stick with it for the first couple of episodes, because if you can get through the first couple of episodes, what the power of that show is just so unbelievable. I just can't explain it better than that.
Cryomancer Maurice says it became your trashy talk show, the one you never want anyone to know you watch and like.
That's pretty much it. Although I do tell everybody. So.
Well, and for me, it was real quick. For me, it was a little bit foreign at first because I had only ever played D&D 3.5. I had the rule books for 4. I had a character ready to go for 4, but I never got to play with a group that played 4. That was about where I was done playing D&D. My group was no longer meeting regularly, and they quit calling me. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I never got to go with 4, and from what I understand, it was a train wreck.
Yes.
So that's okay. So watching Critical Role, things were a little bit foreign to me. What's advantage? What's disadvantage? What's this? They've got, well, don't they mean reflex saving throws in this rather than dexterity, or so there were some foreign elements because I was coming from 3.5, but I picked it up real quick, and then not too long after that I picked up Critical Role for I'm sorry, I picked up the starter edition box set for my daughter because at the same time she was also watching Titan's Grave, and she's like, what's this role playing thing? I want to try it. So yeah, I mean, for me, it was a little bit of a train wreck at first because I was trying to figure out what all of the new terms were. And
it's so different from your standard Dungeons and Dragons game, right? I think that's why my brain kind of rejected it at first, is because I knew what Dungeons and Dragons was, and this isn't it, right? But it is, and it can be, and that's the amazing part about it is.
See,
yeah.
I find it amazing that when you saw Critical Role, you were like, this isn't my Dungeons and Dragons, because for me, it absolutely was.
Right, lucky you.
Because I started watching Acquisitions Inc., and I was like, I wish there was some way that somebody could show what D&D is like for me. Because Acquisitions AI is, it's a lot of fun, but it's like a series of comedy sketches. And
yes.
That's not the way I like to play. I mean, yes, it's great when it happens, but I like to take the game a little more seriously and build a story, not a comedy sketch. And
Right.
I'm not saying that anything against Acquisitions Inc. because it's a lot of fun to watch, just not my type of D&D. So I'm like looking around. Oh, what's this Critical Role? This is my game. Like, I caught, like, I think it was episode 32 or 33 was where I started watching. And I was like, this is my game.
Wow.
And I was, like, immediately hooked.
And you see,
I started watching episode 1, but the first live episode that I caught was the first Slayer's Take episode with Felicia and,
Yeah.
yes,
And Will Friedle.
Wheaton.
Oh, Wheaton.
It was Wheaton. So, yeah, I mean, that was the first episode that I caught live, but I was still trying to get caught up at that point. So I did end up watching a couple more episodes throughout the week to get caught up so that the next time I watched live, I was officially caught up on the show.
Yeah, I started with episode 33. I didn't realize that they had the archive until, like, episode 40.
Aha.
So I was watching it live before I started watching the archive and all that. But
well, I'll be completely honest. I don't think I'd be still playing D&D if it wasn't for Critical Role, because it showed me that it could be so much more, right, than just rolling dice and getting loot, which is what a lot of D&D games are, which isn't a bad thing.
yeah,
But for me, it was already losing its point to me. Do you know what I mean? I was at that stage where I was like, and then with Critical Role, I'm like, oh, so this is what it could be.
Yeah.
If you just allow it to be, right? Yeah.
No, I've got another game where one of the players is still in the early. I mean, just brand new to the game. So for them, it is all about rolling the dice and getting loot, and it's just annoying the piss out of me.
It's okay. They'll grow.
They will.
Grow.
They will.
Well, and I mean, with Desert Winds, I had to shake the rust off again because I hadn't played in 7 years, hadn't DM'd in 7 years, but yet I had this story, Desert Winds, that I had been trying to tell for years. It started off as actually a film script that I was trying to write.
Oh, nice.
And so I was trying to shake the rust off. I was holding on to my story too tightly initially, and I was railroading the players because I was trying to...
You were trying to tell your story.
The heart of the story. I was trying to tell my story. And with the initial turmoil in the group, I'm like, well, something's got to change. And I started looking at Critical Role a little bit more closely. And I'm like, there are large portions of the show where Matt just sits there and listens.
Yep.
And so I started doing that with Desert Winds about the time that you came in, Akiva, with Alex and Anne. And once I let go, Desert Winds started flying. It started taking off. I've had a lot more fun as a DM. You guys seem to really enjoy it.
Oh, I love Desert Winds.
And, I mean, it's given me a lot of confidence as a DM. I can have a structure set up for what I'm going to do, but I don't need to fill in a lot of those details. A lot of those details are going to be filled in by you guys, the players. I describe the situation and let you run with it. And my job as the DM is to be adaptable, malleable to it, and go, yeah, sure, okay, let's see what happens.
And I love that you bring that up because that actually plays into this week's DM's Corner down at the end of towards the end of the episode. So
awesome. So we'll be retouching it.
Yes.
Sweet. Kat, maybe I do know everything all the time.
I know, you're like omnipotent. Oh my gosh, I can't say that word.
Omnipotent.
Omnipotent.
Yep.
There you go.
And I haven't even read the outline yet for tonight. True story.
Okay, so getting into the pre-show announcements, this week's Dear Vox Machina is up with our favorite black powder salesman, Victor.
Oh god, it was hilarious.
It is
So good.
so hilarious. Hopefully,
I just want him to do all of them.
yes. Hopefully, by next week, Ashley will get hers written and we'll have Pike's to complete the set. But she keeps forgetting, so we'll see. For those of you that submitted art for the Critter T-shirt contest, that contest is now closed. The cast is going through all of the entries. They will be picking their top 3, and that will be announced on June 30th. So keep an eye out for that announcement, and be prepared to vote on your favorite of the 3. And one thing that I didn't realize, or I probably would have, actually followed through with submitting my entry, but I found out today, after it had closed, that the winner of the contest not only, gets a free shirt and gets their name out there within the community, but Geek and Sundry is actually going to partner with them for the shirt. Meaning that the individual who wins is going to get paid just like all of the official artists for the show.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, yeah, I didn't have any ideas for a shirt. Otherwise, I would have submitted something, but nothing was coming to mind for me.
Yeah. But I think that's just amazing that they've gotten to a point where they can do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that they will do that.
Yeah.
They just really appreciate their artists, which is fantastic.
I mean, it really shows a level of love for the community, and I love that.
Yep.
Many thanks to Kat for the next 2 announcements. Over on Reddit, you found the mugshot history of Scanlan's mug.
Yeah, I just had to share this because it's on Critical Role Stats, and they've done pictures of the progression of his mug.
I wondered if anybody was doing that.
Yeah.
If you guys would like to see that specific picture, the link is down in the description below. It's just hilarious watching the bottom of Scanlan's mug just populate with stickers. So, check that out. The next one is currently the best answer to anyone who asks what is Critical Role. There was a YouTube video that was put out, or that was, I can't remember who it was that put it out now.
Oh,
one moment while I go and double check that.
I can do that if you want to keep going.
But it is
Brooklyn, California.
Yes. It was put together by YouTuber Brooklyn, California. That link is also down in the description below. And it is a montage of just some of the best moments of Critical Role. And not like the important life-changing moments for the characters, but just the moments that you just have to laugh along with the cast. And it's done very
cool.
well.
I'll definitely check that out.
Yes.
Yeah, I've watched it like over and over. I don't know why. I can't stop watching it. It's like, oh my gosh, I know I've watched the show, but she's pieced together these moments so perfectly that they really do tell the story of their journey.
Yes.
In a compact way that if you're coming in from never seeing the show, you can get it, right? And you can be like, oh, so that's what that is. Yeah.
And
really good.
At the same time, it doesn't really spoil anything. So if you want to go back and watch it from the beginning, if you're new to the series, or if you want to use this as a way to introduce someone to the series, show them this, and they can still watch it without any, without any spoilers.
Yeah.
learn to speak sooner or later. My Draconic is fading.
Your
but
Draconic is perfect.
yes.
So this is what we get to use as our drug dealer promo.
Pretty much.
Okay.
You want more? You want more?
You want more? I'll show you where to find it
Just a taste.
for a nominal fee.
And last but not least for the announcements, next week Matt and Marisha will be visiting the Australians, and I am so jealous.
Yes.
Because
Cat
you get
gets-
to go see them, Cat.
Yep, Kat finally
I do.
gets to go see them. So there will be no Critical Role next week.
I'm sorry. I'm
There's
sorry, not
talk
sorry.
there's going to be an improv something or other run by the remaining members of the cast. But we don't know whether or not that is true. There was actually some tweets going around that were like, I would love to see Liam run a game, step in and run a game for the crew. Just have him run an improv game for the crew.
So we don't know what's going to be happening with any certainty, but we know something is going to happen, and we know it will be awesome simply because of the people who are involved.
Yes.
So-
And we may, next week we may get together in character and do a gossip session like we did in our very early episodes with Jordan.
Ooh.
So we may do that. And I do have one announcement that is a personal announcement. Tomorrow afternoon, it's actually going to be 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. I am going to be DMing a one-shot for one of my favorite streamers, Ice Prime. That's 1CE, Prime, over on Twitch. It's going to be about a 2-hour game, and it's for him and his wife and some of the subscribers, and it's going to be a fun time. So there's no place better to come and hang out. So come hang out, show me support, show him support, and it'll be a good time.
Indeed. And I think you guys will enjoy the premise of the game.
Yeah, Akiva helped write some of it with me the other day. So
Well,
as well as some of the other members of Desert Winds.
Yes. So that will bring us to the highlight comment from last Gilmore's Glorious Gossip. And I am totally going to butcher this name, so I apologize in advance. This comment comes from Joshua Kamilski. I hope I said that correctly. Who reminds us that we were talking about the vestige, and I had made the comment that once Hodis is sent back to the Nine Hells, maybe they would have an entry point in order to try to find the vestige. Well, Joshua reminds us that the vestige is in the abyss, not the Nine Hells. Also, since demons and devils both have their stupid, broken, faux immortality, we could probably also see Orthax, too.
It's a valid point.
It is a valid point. I probably should have clarified. I was trying not to assume that Matt has the Abyss and the Nine Hells separate. Some DMs have them where you can travel from the Abyss to the Nine Hells by physically walking through them. But, that being said, it is possible that they are completely separate and they don't necessarily have that entry or that focus for the entry. Either way, it's a great comment because it ties in not only the difference between the Abyss, which is chaotic evil, and the Nine Hells, which is lawful evil, but also brings back the possibility of meeting yet another old enemy. Orthax being, if I'm not mistaken, the shadow demon that had infected...
That was attached to Percy.
Percy, yes. So, that will be rather interesting if he, raises his evil little head again. But that will bring us into the episode. Opening up with the Roshasa fight. Just... I was...
What a
wow.
Charlie Foxtrot this was.
Yes. Yes. And for those of you out there who aren't military, a Charlie Foxtrot is a cluster F.
Cluster F.
Yes.
The cluster F.
Yes, it's just a complete mess. But everybody was so panicky when this first started, and so we open up and the Rakshasa has the upper hand as far as initiative goes. And then when it comes to Vax's turn, he raises the alarm. And that's when we find out that everybody who's awakened is, half of them are...
They don't sleep in their armor.
Well, that's a given. But 3 of the remaining 5 or 6 were facing assailants of their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oof.
Definitely a good play by Matt to up the ante. As Percy said, I thought I was going to watch a fight. For most of this, wasn't actually even prepared to roll at the time. With Liam, though, and how he played his opening round, I really like throughout this entire fight, as he said, they don't sleep in their armor, Liam's use of basic actions without armor or weapons. And we did discuss this in a previous podcast, how basic actions are kind of underused a lot by players. He did really well in utilizing those,
Absolutely.
Well, all of the players are pretty well versed, I mean, and that's what really impresses me about the Critical Role group is Matt is constantly throwing them curveballs, and yet we see them adapting to these situations really, really well.
Indeed. And I loved Travis's reaction when he reminded everybody, yeah, you were asleep. You're not in your armor. And Travis is like, well, Grog's always in his armor.
Yeah.
Right.
Barbarians don't wear armor.
Yep. Unarmored defense. Gotta love it.
That's why I love monks.
This is something I find DMs also kind of forget as well. If your players are sleeping and they get attacked, are they in their armor? And just think about that whenever you're planning encounters such as that, is don't just assume that they're going to be sleeping in their leathers, and if they're wearing plate, definitely not. If they're wearing plate and they're like, oh yeah, I was wearing plate when I went to sleep, get them to do an exhaustion check, because they're not going to be sleeping very well in that armor.
See, and here I have arguments, because being a member of the SCA, I have worn leather armor and plate armor, and I have slept in it. And actually, the best sleep of my life was in full plate armor.
Well, that's why I say do a check, because, maybe you did sleep well, but maybe there was like that it was really rocky, and it was just poking into your back, and you just couldn't quite, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there was that one rivet that was in just the wrong spot.
But if you're sleeping in a bed, obviously you're not going to be in your armor, because that does get uncomfortable. But if you're out on the road, by all means, sleep in your armor, because that's some comfy shit right there. Don't ask me why, but if you're sleeping on the hard ground, it is a lot more comfortable in your armor than it is out.
Interesting.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Arrow Runner brings up the part that I geeked out about it. Well, I shouldn't say geeked out about, but the part I was happy about, that I wasn't going to didn't want to be the first one to bring up. Pike went to bed wearing nothing, only had her mace, shield, and still had on her gloves
holy
and
symbol.
boots. Well, her holy symbol is into her is a necklace, but she also has one in her shield.
Right. But she was wearing her necklace.
Yeah.
Holy symbol still.
But I just the image that the two presents that she got from Grog, the boots and the gloves. She wore them to bed. That just made me giggle. But we'll come back to that particular topic later. Not the presents, not the Anyway, so as the fight progresses, Scanlan actually started using some magic on the. Thank you, Arrow Runner. Arrow Runner says, "For you, Akiva." But Scanlan and Keyleth, I think it was Keyleth, both tried using some magic on the Roshasa. And, of course, Rakshasas are immune to magic level 6 and lower.
Yep. So yeah, you have to cast a 7th level spell at it. You have to throw a 7th level spell at it before it sticks. Yes. Otherwise, it can choose to ignore it if it wants to. Yep. I mean, it could give you the false sense of security by letting something wimpy hit, and then you're like, oh hey, I can do this, and then nope, the next one it doesn't. But because it wanted to.
Yep. However, as Taliesin and Sam are both the more experienced role players on the cast, I thought it was just excellent work by them that they didn't metagame it. And then also Keyleth and Vax had actually gone up against it before.
Right.
And they didn't metagame knowledge that they didn't gain from the first fight. So I just thought that was amazing work by the players.
Yeah.
But the part that had the second round of panic after everybody had gotten out into the hall was Vax grappling the Roshasa and then pulling him over the side.
And that caused a big stink in the Critters D&D chat. Big stink.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, I think it was the best tactic at the time.
It was an interesting tactic, and I'd like to contemplate a bit as to why he did that. As Scanlan said, but I just got here. I just got here, and you're like, see ya, woo, over the cliff. I'm not 100% certain why he would have done that.
The reason that I think Vax would have done that is because Vax has fallen to his doom a lot, and he's walked away from it a lot. And he's fighting this Rakshasa that he knows is powerful because he's fought it before. So I think in Vax's mind, he bum rushed this thing and took it over the edge because now this thing is going to take falling damage. It was not taking spell damage, and he was not having a lot of luck hitting it with his daggers. Well, he didn't have his daggers.
No.
So what he had at his disposal was falling damage.
Okay.
Yep.
He charged off, and they fell off the roof, and take that falling damage. It's guaranteed damage.
Yeah, it wasn't a roof or a cliff. It was actually the balcony that he and quote unquote Gilmore had walked up to see the moon.
But he fell onto the roof, the outcropping of the roof.
No, he fell into the courtyard.
Well, see, this is also confusing. Matt actually says that they fell on top of a roof, but then everyone kept saying courtyard, and then Matt just kind of went with courtyard. If you go back
No, because
through,
Matt when he first said it, he said into the courtyard, and then when Keyleth ended up tearing the hole in the wall so that they could get out, it went out onto a roof next to the courtyard.
oh, okay. So the only other thing that I could think of would be, because he said, I really hope the guards are awake, wink wink, at the end of it. So that's the other reason why I thought he might have done it, was to give the guards better access to supporting them.
Yeah, honestly, there should have been 1 or 2 guards in the courtyard.
Yeah, which is why I thought they were on a roof, because I thought, well, wouldn't there be guards in a courtyard?
But at the same time, you know, the timing, the way, as fast as that battle went, Matt's right, the guards wouldn't have been able to get there regardless.
Right.
Well, we were guardless.
10 points of psychic damage.
Oh boy.
Anyway. But, no, my thinking on that particular tactic was, I need to dish out some massive damage to this thing, and I have no weapons. This is gonna hurt. Let's go. And not only that, but it puts the Roshasa in a central location where, because in a courtyard there should be guards down there, more eyes on it. So it can't get away as easily.
Oh yeah, I mean, even archers should have been there. Like if there were archers up on a wall or something, they should have been able to shoot down into the courtyard as well.
Yep.
Depends if it's
so I mean, there's a number of ways to handle it.
Yeah, depends if it's like an inner courtyard. I'd like to probably see the map of it, but
Yeah. Arrow Runner admonishes Kalia for the pun. To the pun, that was bad.
I absolutely do not feel bad about that.
But I love the way the assassins were handled. The behind the scenes on how they got into the castle just would have been awesome to know. But obviously they're assassins, and they were just there when Vox Machina woke up.
And, I really liked the fact, and I may be jumping here, but I really liked the fact that we found out that these were assassins from the Clasp.
Yes.
The Clasp now has a vendetta against Vox Machina because they parted ways and said, nope, we're not going to help you. We'll do this on our own. So the Clasp now has this vendetta. So when a Rakshasa comes to them, presumably in a disguise, and says, hey, I need you guys to help me take out Vox Machina, they say, F yeah, let us in.
Well, yes, but at the same token, they're going to get paid for it.
True. But it's mutual. It's mutually beneficial.
Yes.
They get paid, and they get to take care of Vox Machina at the same time.
I suppose you have to think, if they'd done that alliance, would they have been available to the Rakshasa? Or would they have been like, no, sorry, we're actually friends with these guys, we can't help you? So maybe if they had done the alliance.
It's one of those questions that we wouldn't know.
Well, I mean, by the same token, they're
mercenaries.
Yeah, they're mercenaries. You pay them enough, they will turn on their leader. I mean...
Yeah, well, that's true.
So...
Our loyalty belongs to the highest bidder.
Yes. But...
Yeah, so I really like with all of the assassins, the different effects of all the different battles taking place, and how Matt consistently links the different battles together. You see a glow under the door, you hear a bullet hit a wall, you hear, all of this kind of stuff, and it allows the other players to have more action and option within the battle, which is fantastic.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, running D&D Adventures League this week, my players we're running through Curse of Strahd, and I'm not going to give too much away, but they were in, one group was upstairs in a house, and part of the party went downstairs into a cellar. And I looked at the map to see where the party would be in relation to, in relation to each other. And it turns out that they were like directly above and below each other. And so they were able to hear the sounds of battle from below the floor, and they were able to shout back and forth between each other to say, "Hey, we're down here." And then they were like, "Well, how do we get down there?" So I mean, it was nice for me to be able to do something similar the other day.
Yeah, it's good.
Indeed. So one of the notes that you put in here, Kat, was about the poison that the Roshasa was using.
Right.
So after the fall, the Roshasa uses half its movement to get up because it moves before Vax, and attacks Vax while he's prone. Matt is reminded that the blade has not been re-dipped, and Matt utilizes a bonus action to reapply between the two attacks. So the reason in the notes here, Kat, you point out that applying a poison is normally an action.
Right. Standard.
Yes. Yep. Poisons normally call for a Constitution check with a difficulty of 10, or Constitution save rather, with a difficulty of 10, and the weapon usually remains potent for 1 minute before drying. The caveat on the 1 minute before drying is if it does not successfully land an attack.
Correct. Yes.
Once it lands an attack, the poison is then in the person, not on the blade anymore. Second, there is a weapon called the Poisoner's Blade, where it becomes a bonus action to apply it because the poison is just real quick into the sheath and out, and I think that's
there you go.
What Matt was using.
Fantastic.
There
could have also been a magical weapon where part of the magic of the weapon is it generates poison.
Yes. And there is also historically there is a blade where an entire vial of poison is in the handle, and it slowly leaks down along the blade.
Ooh.
So
I like that.
it essentially you've got poison on it for hours, regardless of how many times you stab someone with it. So I mean, all just various different ways to handle that particular thing.
Definitely.
What I thought was interesting, for all of the poisons that are listed in the player's handbook, and I think most of them in the DM's guide as well, you have to roll damage for the poison itself.
Right.
And Matt was using just a flat 24.
I think, is it an option that you can take standard damage? That you can just dish standard damage every time?
The rule on that is an average damage.
Average.
So
yes.
If he was doing average damage with a 24, that is some freaking powerful poison.
Yeah, 24 was a really, really powerful poison. There is actually one in the DMG, I believe it is. It's called what is it? It's something crazy. It's like a milk tincture or something like that. It's got a really generic name, but it's a really powerful and potent poison. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head. I'll take a look for it. But Yeah, it's got this basic generic name, but it is one of the most powerful poisons in the game. And during D&D Adventurers League, I was like, oh, hey, the players kind of picked up some of this, or, this NPC had this on them. Wow, okay. And it would have killed my party if it had been used against them. So it's a thing.
Yep. It just, ugh.
Definitely ups the ante for the whole battle, which is
Indeed.
great.
But, after that attack, we get one of the best hero moments from Scanlan. Not really knowing how to, or, the quickest way down to get to Vax, he jumps over the side of the balcony and just skewers the hell out of the Roshasa.
Okay, so this, I lied earlier. This was actually the part that caused the huge stink in Critters D&D chat.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, about being knocked prone.
Yeah, they thought that, the Rakshasa should have been knocked prone, with Scanlan hitting him, being unaware, and all of that. The force from falling at terminal velocity, and all of this stuff. I mean, and it was a big stink.
Okay, so I have two things to say about that. I'll let you guys speak first before I get into it.
As a DM, I probably would have ruled yes, that Hotus would have been knocked prone at the very least. This person in Critters D&D chat said, Hotus should have broken a leg, or, at that velocity, you'd break your kneecaps if you're still standing up and you get slammed by something that hard, and, you don't know physics, and this and that. And
oh gosh.
I got real sick of it real quick. I'm like, it's not our game. Physics be damned, this is fantasy. Let's work within the mechanics of the game. At the very least, yes, I probably would have knocked Hotus prone. And Scanlan would have been prone as well. But, that was as far as I took it. I'm going to weigh the option in the game as it happens. And I think Matt did the same thing. I think he weighed the options in the game as they happened, and I don't think he was wrong.
Yeah.
Different than what I would have done, yes, but I don't know that he was wrong.
So
See, he had Hotus absorb a lot of the fall damage. I think that call was fantastic. He absorbed half of the fall damage, I think, on impact. So he took
Yes.
damage from being impacted by this gnome. In saying that, it's a gnome. Like, I'd probably get, maybe if someone said, oh, wouldn't that knock him prone, I'd probably be like, okay, well, let's do a check and see if he remains standing. But I don't see that as being enough to knock this massive cat creature over. I think that's taking it a little too far, personally. Yes.
So the two things that I wanted to bring up. First, Matt made a roll that he didn't tell us what it was.
Right.
I think that was the roll to see if Hotus stayed
Stay
standing.
standing. Right.
And,
Yep.
As a DM, he's not going to tell us when he makes these rolls. And
Correct,
to the individual who got butthurt in the Critters D&D chat, yes, you got silenced because you were doing the "your fun is wrong."
Yep.
Like, way too hard.
And after several warnings.
Yeah. Okay, mention it once, maybe a clarifying comment after. Once or twice, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Don't go on and on about it.
It's fair to say things and ask questions and have opinions, 100%.
Yes. Second, having spent 13 years in the Army, I have seen Rangers in full combat gear. These are, with full combat gear, they weigh roughly 300 pounds.
Right.
I've seen Rangers, do their airdrop in, and I have seen a Ranger land on another Ranger, and the one that he landed on, yeah, he broke his clavicle from the force, All he did was stutter step, and he remained standing.
Right.
And that's about equal to the amount of force that Scanlan would have put on Hodis. So, completely in the realm of possibility.
Okay.
So, I mean, granted, not everybody has my experience, so I understand where they're coming from. But by the same token, not our game.
but
We're
I
just,
was with you.
yeah, we're just here to enjoy it.
100%.
Yes. That being said, that was a hell of a jump and a hell of a strike.
Yes, it
I could just
was.
imagine it.
Yes. So,
I mean, it reminded me of like my favorite Looney Tunes cartoons.
oh yeah.
You know, just like just falling out of the sky and
Yep.
stabby stab.
Yes. The shortly after that, when Keyleth did, open up the hole, there was a little bit of confusion on the hold your action versus hold your turn, and I've come to the
Again.
Yeah, again, I've come to the understanding that Matt does not play with the hold your turn mechanic.
I have got that too. Because I'm confused.
So for
I'm
those
sitting here going, what?
Yes. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, there are two types of holds that you can do. You can hold your action, or you can hold your turn. If you hold your turn, it changes your turn order. And considering how many players Matt has, it's understandable that he does not want to have to deal with trying to remember where everybody is on the turn order and then shuffling them around as they go. Makes sense.
That's where Fantasy Grounds is wonderful, because we can change initiatives on the fly that way.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And for those of you that use Roll20, it's the same thing. You can change it on the fly, and it remembers for you. You don't have to sit there and write it down and draw arrows and all this other confusing stuff.
Yeah, DMs should be using pencils. We should not be using pens, just in case you are using a pen, because things can change.
I learnt that super quick.
Yes.
Oh boy.
So yeah, instead of holding his turn, Grog ended up holding a dash action.
Right. Yeah, so there is in vanilla rules, there's something called a ready action, which is always what I thought his hold action was that it was essentially a ready action.
Yeah, that is what it is.
Technically, so with a ready action, you're using the action portion of your turn to state a triggering event, and when that triggering event occurs, whatever you're holding on to do, you can then do as a bonus action, which is why you don't get your bonus. However, you can hold either an action, like a spell or something, or you can hold your movement. You can move your standard speed as your held action.
Yeah,
according to vanilla rules.
Yes.
Right.
What Matt was saying, essentially was that Travis needed to define what he was holding. Yes. Was he holding an attack action? Was he holding a dash action? Or what?
But I just feel like the players don't quite understand that they can hold that movement as an action. Because he was like, well, I can't move. You can move, but that has to be the action that you hold.
Yes, and as Matt said, it is considered holding a dash action.
Correct.
But Keyleth stone shapes that door, and everybody starts charging through. I laughed so hard at Percy's reaction when Keyleth tore open that hole. We just got it back. Don't go destroying it now.
Like, oh boy. Poor Percy.
Yep.
His poor house.
Yep. Arrow Runner says that the Scanlan drop. She was going to call that they were going to call that the play of the game, and then Pike happened, and then Gilmore happened. So there were a lot of good actions for this combat. But yeah, Vax. When Scanlan hit Hodis, he ended up dropping the Myth Carver. Because it's hard to hold on to your weapons when you hit a person and the ground at that speed. So Vax picks it up and goes to make an attack, but that sparks the discussion about what the offhand bonus attack really is. And Matt's absolutely correct when he said the offhand bonus attack only comes into play when you've made an attack action.
Yep.
So there was a little bit of questioning on that in the Geek and Sundry chat. But Vex ends up flying out the hole on her broom. She goes to shoot the Roshasa. We have a little bit of humor there. As,
She's so beautiful.
Yes.
I want to shoot the Rakshasa!
That voice that she did had me laughing so hard.
Oh, I love Laura so much. She brightens up my world.
Yes. They all do.
Oh, they all do, but yeah. She cracks me up.
So, who was it that got asked what their alignment was?
It was
that
Laura.
Vex.
It was,
Yep,
yeah.
that was Vex.
Okay, I am remembering that correctly. Then on this attack, Matt asked Laura what her alignment was. The reason for that is Rakshasas, being devils,
Take bonus damage from good aligned characters.
Yes. So that would have been awesome to see, and I think that is part of what came later with Pike. But
Which is interesting that that's come into play now. Because of decisions that she's made, has kind of shifted her alliance into chaotic neutral. Because she wasn't chaotic neutral in the beginning. And so now Matt gets to sit there and go, what's your alignment again? Vex?
Yep.
Oh, is that it? And she's like, what does this mean? Oh, you know.
So, Grog finally gets out on the roof, uses his axe of returning, or the blood axe on the chain of returning, rather, for his attack. And I thought it would have been awesome if the axe had stuck.
Ha! Yes.
Okay, guys, so I was looking up these poisons real quick. I think Hodis may have been using wyvern poison. Poison must be harvested from a dead or incapacitated wyvern. Creatures subjected to this poison must make a DC 15 con saving throw, taking 24 poison damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. So it was probably wyvern poison, but the one that I was thinking of was pale tincture, which basically they have to make a DC 16 con saving throw or take 1d6 poison damage and become poisoned. They must repeat the saving throw every 24 hours, taking 1d6 poison damage on a failed save. Until this poison ends, the damage the poison deals can't be healed by any means. After 7 successful saving throws, the effect ends and the creature can heal normally.
Ouch.
Yep.
Ouch. Oh. Oh boy.
So yeah, I think it was wyvern poison anyway.
Yeah.
There are some pretty sick poisons
Oh yeah,
available in this game. They're pretty awesome. I'm a rogue at heart, and I just think there's just so many cool things that you
indeed.
that you can do. Arrow Runner says there was a moment where with Vex where Hotus did some charm related spell because I was thinking he was going to try to get Vex to kill Vax
Yes.
as a twin that would mentally break me. That sounds like something Matt would do.
That
It sounds like something he was doing, and it sounds like something he was trying to do because they kept going advantage because elf, advantage because elf.
and not only that, it sounds like something a Roshasa would do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So true.
Evil bastard. No holds barred.
Keyleth uses Wall of Stone to try to trap him in. At which point in the Critters D&D chat, you, Kalia, actually pointed out that Rakshasas can use the fly spell at will.
Yep.
But with Vax being able to fly as well, I don't think that would have helped him too much. But then...
No, I was just thinking to get up and over that wall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that too. But then Pike gets out there and uses Flame Strike. Oh, how do you want to do this?
Oh, that look on her face.
Yes.
Oh my god, are you serious? What? I killed him? No!
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Oh, it was totally beautiful. And then the description that Matt used, with it starting inside him and cracking through him, sort of like the Matrix moment.
Yep.
But, Kat, why don't you bring up the next little note about the robe you have there?
Oh, he tries to take it off and oh shit. That one?
Yep.
Yeah.
The you have it here in the notes, the robe of flagellation.
Yup.
It's actually a robe of flaying, but
I couldn't remember the name. I'm like, it's F and it hurts you when you're trying to flagellation.
Okay, so
Thanks, Kalia, for changing that.
You're
in the
welcome.
notes.
You're welcome.
Historically, flagellation is there's a sect of
In
Christian
case nobody
monks
knows.
that whip themselves and cause themselves pain as sort of a way to pay penance for sins and that sort of thing, and they feel it brings themselves closer to God. And that's what flagellation is.
Yes. I have been watching too much, what is it, Da Vinci Code.
Yes.
Gotta stop. Okay.
We're nothing if not educational here on Gilmore's Glorious Gossip.
Yes.
Oh, we'll teach you everything, even if you didn't want to know it.
Yep.
So, robe of flaying, it's called. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And, you know, while as they realize that's what's going on with the robe, there's a little panic. Oh crap! Where are the other assassins? Or were there other assassins rather? One of the assassins, Keyleth, had pushed out a window but not killed, while the others had been killed. So they wanted to go find that last remaining one as well. So while the rest of the party is going off to find if there were more assassins, where Allura and Gilmore and Kima are, Percy takes Vax down towards the Marble of Death, the Orb of Doom.
Yeah.
The ziggurat.
Yes.
What an amazing... I just love his mind.
Yep.
You know?
It was a great idea.
It
was a
really
great
was.
idea.
They get down there and they're able to get the robe off, and Grog, who had gone with them, checks the bag of holding, and it's just
my
an
God.
empty bag.
And
Which
the panic.
I loved your reaction to that, Akiva, during Critters D&D chat when you were like, "Is it broken forever?" And I was like, "Nah, I don't think so."
Yeah.
Well, everyone in normal chat was also saying the same. They were like, "Oh my god, he's broken! They've lost everything," and there was like a massive panic in normal chat as well. So they were with you, Akiva.
Yes.
See, I think the reason that I didn't panic though is because they tried accessing the bag of holding during the Briarwood fight as well. And as soon as they were out of the radius of the Marble of Doom, bag of holding was fine. And
Right.
See,
Matt kept it consistent.
Yeah, my thought process on it though was at that point it was just starting up.
Right.
So
And I mean, I understand your point
Yeah.
too, Akiva. It
Maybe-
could have gained some ground and traction by now, and now it's more powerful than we gave it credit for.
yes, and that's my biggest worry because Matt does show that even his NPCs have character growth. So it's not impossible to apply that to a magical construct having power growth the longer it sits.
Right.
So
Oh, okay.
that's where my panic came from.
Oh well, lovely, merciful Matt
Yes.
allowed that to not be the case, which is good.
And then came the biggest moment of phew for most of us. Vex it was Keyleth. Keyleth had run off to find Gilmore. And she gets to the house/apartment that Gilmore's staying in. She wild shapes into a mouse to get in, and there's an assassin there being held aloft. Gilmore comes out of his room. What did you think was going to happen? And crushes him.
I think he said, "What did
description.
you say?" What did you say? And I'd really like to have known what this guy had told Gilmore to make him so pissed.
Yes, it was what did you say? The what did you think was going to happen came later from Kashaw.
Sure.
But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
just seeing that, I was just, our benefactor is still alive and well.
Like, frick
Yeah,
yeah,
and we've never
like,
seen that
Gilmore.
side of him before either. That was the other big moment there. Vox Machina hasn't really seen that side of him before.
True. I mean, all they know is that he's went toe to toe with Thordak.
And survived it.
Yeah, they haven't seen it. They just know that it happened. So,
Gilmore's a badass.
yes. And then, Keyleth is like, assassins, Roshasa, Vax. And so Gilmore's initial reaction is, oh shit, the man I love is in danger. So they teleport into focusing on Vax as they're leaving the zone of the Ziggurat's influence.
Yep.
And there's Vax naked.
I didn't know it was my birthday.
Yeah. That was perfect. Oh, he plays it so well. I just before we keep going with this though, any thoughts as to what Gilmore's crushing spell was?
I was just
Sorry.
looking it up. And I was just looking it up because Arrow Runner brought it up. So
Oh,
I'm
Arrow.
looking for it currently. And I will let you know if I hit on anything.
Oh yes, I want to know that spell that he used to crush the man. Me too, Arrow.
So
'Cause that is sick.
it could have been a number of spells. But what I think it was an invisible Bigby's crushing hand.
Oh,
Because you cast Bigby's hand, pick someone up, and then crush them with it. Considering Gilmore's power, it's not beyond the realm of him being able to cast Bigby's hand at 9th level. Even though, if I remember the spell correctly, it doesn't say when cast at higher levels. Gilmore being Gilmore, I can see him figuring out how to cast spells that don't have at higher levels at higher levels.
Right. What do you reckon, Kalia?
I didn't have anything in mind immediately for what he had done. Bigby's hand can be cast at higher levels, by the way.
It can.
Casting it using a 6th level slot or higher, it increases by 2d8 damage. And damage from grasping hand increases by 2d6 for each slot level above 5th. So Bigby's hand, yes, can be cast at higher levels. I'm looking for something higher level, I guess. I'm looking for something in the realm of 8th or 9th level spells, but
It almost sucks them dry.
Yeah, nothing immediately came to mind. But it may have been something in the realm of a necromancy spell that he used, because he got that pissed.
That's where I was heading. That's what I would lean towards. Because is he a warlock or a wizard?
He's a wizard.
He's a wizard. He feels so much like a warlock to me. Just the way that he plays him, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, he feels a lot like a warlock, but
he does.
Mechanically, as a warlock, he wouldn't have as much in the realm of enchantment as he does.
Yeah.
And Iron Ulysses brings up that Gilmore wrung the assassin out like a towel. So he would have needed 2. Again, given Gilmore's power, not outside the realm. So, but I mean, it could have been a number of spells. And considering how much of the game is homebrewed already, it may have been a homebrew spell.
Could have been.
So,
So I love the question that Vax asked Gilmore to prove it was Gilmore.
yes.
He asked Gilmore, "What did I say to you at the tavern the last time we were there?" And I kind of felt a little nervous. Wasn't too sure how Gilmore was going to answer this one.
Even though, at this point I was already convinced that Gilmore was Gilmore, but it made sense for the players to mistrust it. It sort of broke my heart a little.
Me too. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm not someone who pushes my own ships in discussions, but from the beginning, I think this is one of the first things I ever said to you, Akiva, is that I'm a Gilmore Vax girl.
Yes.
I'm not big on the whole Keyleth thing, and I do want to point to this because I'm finding it, and we've kind of lost Kalia, and I need Kalia for this.
We did lose Kalia.
Is she coming back?
I will try and get her back in.
Maybe I'll bring this up when she comes back.
Give me one moment here.
Okay. Right, Iron? It was the way he said it. Oh my gosh.
There we go.
Breaks my heart.
I'm back. My internet dropped, guys. Sorry. Oh.
That's okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Sorry.
Shush.
I'm back. I'm back. Shush, Skype. Shush.
I already called in. Sheesh.
Sorry. But yeah.
So I just wanted to say I'm having, ever since the whole Raven Queen Temple moment where Keyleth was kind of standing back and he came out covered in blood and she wouldn't even approach him, all of the discussions that they've been having as a couple, I've really wanted to get on board this Keyleth Vax ship.
And she's making it so difficult right now.
She's making it so... It's the ship that's sailing and I want to be on it because that's where all the cool kids are, right? All the cool kids are on that ship, so I want to be on that ship too. But she makes it so hard. I can't connect with this Keyleth Vax thing because I just constantly feel this brick wall. And I know that it's because she's very hesitant, and I know that it's because she has a lot of self-doubt and a lot of issues that she's working through. I don't know, I kind of want to see more connection from her character to him in a loving mannerism. I felt more chemistry and connection in those few moments with Gilmore and Vax in the other night's episode than I have with the entire Keyleth Vax ship.
Yes.
Just in those few moments, that chemistry was just, oh my god. And I don't know if it's the underdog in me or the fact that he can't have him, that it kind of amplifies it. I don't know.
I don't know. For me, so the viewpoint that I take on it, yeah, we get that Keyleth has an issue with religion, but this particular, going back through the early episodes, even from the first Twitch episode, it has been apparent that Keyleth has a problem with religion.
Right.
And, I get that character growth is supposed to proceed organically, and sometimes that means it goes slowly. But, come on. It's an issue that she's had so much time to deal with and come to terms with, and she hasn't.
Yes.
And it's the length that Vax is going, the patience that he's showing for her,
Right.
is really ruining that particular ship for me.
Might we say, now that he's a paladin, that he has the patience of a saint?
No, he has the patience of a god at this point. He had the patience of a saint like 3 months ago. Now it's
I know,
the
right?
patience of a god.
It's god levels.
Yeah. But, it's their game.
The psychic damage to Cat, though, was worth it.
Oh no, it killed me. So yeah, I don't go on about my ships, and I won't bring it up again. But these last 2 episodes, it really hit me because I'm so for that ship. But that's fine. It's 100% their game, and I love their characters and their progression and the way that they play them, and I don't want to change anything. I don't want anything to change for me, or it's just an observation that I've made.
I'm
Arrow
being
Runner.
booed in chat again, you guys.
Well, Arrow Runner does bring up a good point, and actually that was why I picked the first piece of art that we had seen tonight. Arrow Runner says, slams fist on table, let Vax be Polly. At this point, it makes the most sense.
And it makes everybody happy. Yay. Win-win.
So, but after that scene, we switch over to finding the others. Allura was not attacked, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
But they go to find Kashaw, and he has been attacked, but when they find him, it looks like somebody tried to paint his room with blood.
It was, is it Gore Verbinski? Is that the director that does all of the gory, bloody movies, like the Machete, the Grindhouse films? I could be thinking of the completely wrong.
I know.
But
Quentin Tarantino is pretty big with those.
Yes.
So yeah, I immediately, when I heard the description of this, I'm like thinking Machete and all of those Grindhouse films.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the line that was the moment when, Cash goes, "What did they think was going to happen?" Uh,
He's so
and
cool.
it's such a perfect line. I think that's why I wanted to attribute it to Gilmore, but oh well. Um, they
Oh, Cryomancer. Everyone else was playing D&D, but Kishore was playing Mortal Kombat. Oh,
the
that's
other thing
perfect.
too. The other thing too about Kashaw, being covered in all of this blood, his wife is Vesh,
Right.
and she's crazy, crazy. Robert Rodriguez is the director that I was thinking of. Thank you very much, Yesenia. So yeah, I mean, I'm thinking now, it didn't hit me so much then, but now I'm going, Vesh would have probably been there too, but he wouldn't have called on her necessarily because he fears the end of the world if she gets loose again.
yes.
So, but it's something fun to think about at any rate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they, um, after finding out who's been attacked, who hasn't, they figure out that there are 6 assassins total, and was concerned that Kiki's was still alive and would go talk and bring others in. And they start a discussion about the Roshasa and all of that, and Allura explains why it came back, how it came back. Now, Kat, in the notes here you say it allows for Matt to link Pike's departure. Unfortunately, both while trying to rewatch the episode and during the live episode, my browser decided it was going to buffer and skip that part. So I didn't really understand what the story hook for Pike's departure was. So if you two could fill me in, I would appreciate it.
Yeah. Matt just basically had Allura turn to Pike and say, we're going to have to kind of figure out where he is in the Nine Hells, because we don't want to just push into the Nine Hells and then be searching there forever. It's not a very safe place to be. So can you stay here with us and work with us to try to locate a close proximity of where he would be within the Nine Hells and to plan the journey?
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a long stretch, I felt, for someone like Pike, but it worked. It worked.
I don't think it. I mean, considering the Nine Hells and the Celestial Realms are both considered, are I shouldn't say considered, but are more closely studied by the religious.
True. Maybe
Sex.
It wasn't such a long stretch then. It was a good stretch.
Yeah, I think it works.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, none of us knew that she was leaving. I don't think none of us knew that this was her last one too. So that kind of, as realization dawned on all of us.
Yeah, I cried.
So tough.
Yeah, it's going to be rough without Ashley, but hopefully, they've got better internet now in the studio. So hopefully, if she is able to Skype in, things will go well.
Yes. And hopefully with the writers and hopefully the producers being Critical Role fans, she'll be able to get in via Skype a little more often. Hopefully, cross our fingers, petition.
Yep.
Yes, I'll sign that.
So real quick, going back to what spell did Gilmore use to kill that dude? Looking through all of the spells, the only one that really is acting like the way that this assassin died would be Bigby's Crushing Hand, or Grasping Hand. Cast at 9th level, it does 10d6 damage. And once the character is grappled, you can use a bonus action to crush that character.
Yes.
Oh, crap.
Now, Iron Ulysses had said that it would take 2, but again, given
that could have been a flavor thing.
Yeah, could have been a flavor thing. The other side of it, um, given that Gilmore is unknown in his power level, maybe he has a magic item. Maybe he's a level 20 wizard, level 5 sorcerer. Who knows?
Yeah,
crap.
and
with the
Bigby's
metamagic,
hand is also a concentration spell.
yes, but with metamagic feats, or even if maybe he has a magic item, especially since he was so big on enchantment, it would not surprise me he has a magic item that allows him to have 2 concentration spells at once. So, who knows?
Cool. So, with the Nine Hells discussion, I did pull something very interesting from Reddit, and Ipmanoir from Reddit said, glad they didn't send Craven Edge to the Nine Hells, like they were planning to.
Yes, because then Hodis would have come back with Craven Edge.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that would be scary. That would be really scary. I mean, Hodis is scary enough as is.
Oh, boy. But they eventually... And you'll have to forgive me, I've forgotten the wolf's name. But they go out into the woods near Whitestone and yell for the wolf to track down the remaining assassin. And then they go off to, clean up and rest for a bit. Eventually, the wolf comes back with the dead assassin.
Yep, and that was awesome.
Yes. And so Pike uses Speak with Dead. Or no, that wasn't... It was the... Oh...
Oh, she does, yep.
Which one?
Speak with Dead on...
Not on the wolf one, though. It was on the one that got his face caved in by Kima.
Oh, right, yes.
So, yeah. They ask the questions. With some really nice Galaxy Quest references there.
It was so funny, because everyone was just telling her what to say.
Yes.
And then she's like, I have one job to do on this ship and I will do it.
Yep. But after getting cleaned up, Vax puts the Raven Queen's armor back on and shows it to Gilmore, who, of course, casts Identify. This scene had me rolling.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, do you trust me? Well, not so much now, but yeah, I still trust you. Was basically the undertone.
Yes. Push off the cliff. So how badass is that armor now?
My
That's
god!
amazing.
He gets pushed off the cliff, he sprouts
Sick.
wings, and can fly.
He's a freaking raven.
Once per day for an hour,
Yes.
according to Matt. That is really awesome. And everybody, I remember everybody in Critters D&D chat was like, well, when did that happen? And I'm like, well, if you remember, he made a prayer to the Raven Queen. If you have wings to give me, now is the time. And she gave him wings, but he didn't know how to use them at that point in time.
See, I thought maybe it was something that unlocked after he visited the temple.
I think it was a
That was another
combination.
thought that was thrown around too.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of
the
those
two?
two. Yeah. Because,
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, because he announced, now I'm a paladin of the Raven Queen, made his prayer, and there was the answer of his friends being right there. And then he went and talked to the Raven Queen. And the Raven
Right.
Queen was like, okay, not only have you dedicated yourself, you're actually following through and coming to me and taking communion. Here you go.
There, that sounds good. And then that beautiful hug scene. So he came flying back up and lifted Gilmore up, and again my heart broke a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit more breakage. And then Vex. Poor Vex. You could... So he gets to fly now? He can fly?
Yeah.
Why can't he fly?
And then her apology later in the episode for that outburst.
Oh, never stop being you, Vex. Never stop being you. It's adorable.
Oh, man.
So Iron Ulysses is asking if, and I want to get some more clarification here. He was asking, was that a planar portal? Do you mean the pool at the Raven Queen's temple? Is that what you're asking? If that was a planar portal? I just need some clarification.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
it is the pool. I can say without a doubt is not a planar portal. It's a way to bring yourself to a controlled point close to death to make talking to the Raven Queen possible.
Oh, okay. So kind of like that between life and death moment.
Yeah, it's essentially
Holds in place.
it's essentially a baptismal pool.
Okay.
That's
so
an interesting idea.
The way, well, if you think about it, the way Christianity presents the baptismal pool is that you wash away your sins and invite in the Holy Ghost.
Right.
And that's essentially what was going on with the
Right.
blood pool. Washing away
Kind of
your past to coming close to death, to experience that point of crossing over without actually crossing over.
Kind of a Game of Thrones moment.
Yeah.
Where I don't know if you guys watch the Game of Thrones, but when the Iron... I'm not big on Game of Thrones, I do watch it though, but when he wanted to be king... you know when they drowned him?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Drowned him in the water, and if he lived, then he could... Sorry? The drowned god.
Yes.
Similar. I'm not doing musicals in chat, Kalia, shush.
No, but you spawned it.
I didn't
Oh, I
mean to.
just
I
can't
No,
wait
no,
to
stop.
be king.
Stop. Stop.
It's a Disney.
I will
think
end
Arrow.
this call.
Arrows on that one.
Don't make me turn this call around.
Yes.
I will do it.
So then, after that scene, they go in. The wolf brings in the other assassin, and they decide to actually search the body for this one, or for this assassin. And they get a new scrying sphere that is identified by Allura.
This thing is pretty badass too.
Yes, it is.
When Matt described it, I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome.
And it made me realize Vox Machina needs a wizard.
Yep.
Yeah. It's, Dungeons and Dragons is very difficult to run a party without a wizard.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult.
Well, I wouldn't say difficult. It's just annoying. Because you get these magic items, and until you attune to them, or have an NPC identify them, you don't know what they do.
Yeah,
Well,
so in my legacy group,
Matt.
we don't have a wizard, and I think I'm the only spellcaster. We have a druid, and I play a sorcerer. And within the first 2 sessions, I got so annoyed by the fact that we could not identify magical items, and I realized that we never could. So when I first got my first feat, I what is that feat where you can take wizard spells?
Magic Adept.
Yep.
Magic Adapt, and so I took that feat. Not for any other reason than I just wanted Identify, which just feels like such a blow of a feat.
And see, that it really is. But in my Sunday game, I play a cleric of the knowledge domain, and they get Identify as part of their knowledge or their domain spells.
Yeah,
so
it makes it difficult.
Now, one thing I was going to say is there was a tweet recently by D&D higher-ups, I believe it was Jeremy Crawford, that had posted this. Somebody was asking if you attune to an item, and I think this question was spawned by Critical Role, honestly. Mm-hmm. If you attune to an item, how long is it before you learn all of the properties of this item? And I believe Crawford said, unless you identify it, there's no guarantee you're going to learn all of the properties. The rules, the vanilla rules, say that you may learn some of them through attunement. You may not learn all of them.
Right.
Indeed.
It's really kind of up to the DM as well.
Yes.
How hard-ass they want to be. I'm quite flexible with that kind of stuff because I don't like messing around with items. If they find items, I kind of want them to use it and have fun with it. I don't want to be like, you can't use that, or
Right.
You can't
right.
know what any of it kills the game.
Identify doesn't require a whole lot in the way of material components either. It's like a pearl worth 100 gold pieces.
Right.
So you can get that fairly easily, and that pearl is not consumed in the spell. If the pearl was consumed in the spell, then it would be a different story altogether. But that as long as you have that pearl worth 100 gold pieces, that is your material requirement. Go.
Yes. Now, I will also say, and this is sort of a little off topic. I have seen the question tossed around, and I thought about pulling it in for DM's Corner, but it's a short answer. If a player is a cleric or a wizard or any arcane or divine spellcaster, if they have a focus, if the spell requires that the components be consumed,
their focus doesn't work.
Their focus does not work.
Correct.
Also, if the spell has a material component that has a cost, such as Identify, where you have a pearl worth 100 gold pieces, or a cup worth 1,000 gold pieces, a jewel-encrusted cup worth 1,000 gold pieces. In the case of Hero's Feast, the material focus does not work in that instance.
Unless
it's not consumed.
A, it's not consumed, and B, if the focus is created with materials that equal cost of whatever it is you're casting, it can work then.
Okay.
There are different levels of focuses.
Okay.
So, yeah, in the player's handbook, it's only going to give you the basic focus. But in the DMG, there is a paragraph that talks about the different levels of focuses that are available. It doesn't.
Can you give that to me offline, Akiva?
Yeah, I will do
I'd be
so.
curious. That.
I will do so. But I mean, it is quite possible for an alchemist or a wizard who is skilled in creating focuses to make one that will, cover those requirements so long as it does not require consumption of materials. So.
Okay.
So that's a mini DM's Corner, you guys.
Yes. So, after the Q&A, they, after the Gilmore hug scene, which is the current art you guys are seeing now, they go off and they start drinking. And then Pike starts to say her goodbyes to everybody. Pike and Keyleth go off to talk by themselves.
We did skip the curse section.
Oh, yes, we did. I apologize for that. Okay, so
That's okay.
going back to the curse, they rest, and then when they wake up, Vax is just, if you'll pardon the pun, feeling shitty.
Yeah, he
He's
had nightmares
diarrhea.
the entire night. He
Wakes up with
had
diarrhea.
a level of exhaustion. Yep, and
Does not
he
heal.
was. He had fluids out of both ends.
Yes.
Or the twirls, as Travis likes to call them.
Yes.
My
that,
gosh.
that made me laugh.
I'm using that.
Yes. But, most of us, called it pretty quickly that he was cursed.
Yeah, I know in Critters D&D chat, you were calling for greater restoration. I was calling for, just remove curse.
Yeah.
Which either one would have worked.
Oh, yeah. Now, the reason I was calling for a greater restoration was because that's more of a catch-all. Yeah, I felt like he was cursed, but if it was just a side effect of the fact that he had failed one of his poison checks, the greater restoration would have at least gotten rid of the poison or gotten rid of the curse, either one, in one spell.
Right. And greater restoration would also remove that exhaustion, which was the other thing.
Yes.
Right. So he actually sends Vex to find Allura.
Yeah, the coffee scene was awesome.
Of all people, that coffee scene was fantastic because that's something I do, right? I walk into a room and they're like, "Oh, Kat, do this, do that." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Now, why was I here?
Yes.
I was here. I came in here with a reason. It's just
For those
beautiful.
of you that don't know, Bill Cosby says that your memory resides on the back of your thighs. As soon as you sit down, you'll remember why you were there.
Oh, I'll try that next time.
You stand up to go get something and you forget what it was. As soon as you sit down, you remember. It's because you're sitting down and activating your memory.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense. The interesting thing was that Kima was there though. Kima opened the door.
Yeah, for me, that seemed pretty natural.
Natural? Why, Akiva? Why would she possibly be at Allura's house first thing in the morning having coffee?
Well, A,
Because they're really good friends.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're really
come
good
on.
friends. B, they adventured together.
Oh, fine.
And
they haven't seen each other in a really long time.
Yes.
Oh, damn it. Your logicality is killing me.
However, that does not disprove any possible ships.
Friends with benefits, yo.
Indeed.
Iron Ulysses says, let's be honest.
Oh, God. Now, let's be honest here.
The puns for this episode.
Honestly, I don't think there's anything between Allura and Kima. I just thought it was very interesting that that was the scene that Matt put it in front of everybody and everyone jumped on it really quickly. It was funny.
Well, as Cryomancer Marie says, they're just good friends. Matt Mercer 2015. And yes, this topic has been broached before. And yes, Matt has already said they're just friends. So
yes.
But it makes sense that
But that's the joy of shipping, guys.
yes.
In
Yes.
our hearts, they can be more than just friends. In denial.
Indeed. But, you know, either
Oh
way...
look, John is with me. The way Allura asked Kima to come with her to bed at dinner, then they were together in the morning.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
I missed that.
I missed that too, actually. But
Well, no, you know, Allura's exact
Who
words
knows?
were, "Shall we retire to bed?" as she was looking and talking directly to Kima.
right.
So.
I just like stirring the pot, guys. I'll stop now. I'm sorry.
You can
No
stir the
worries,
pot
go
all
ahead.
you want.
Um,
I stirred the pot for 6 months before mine came true.
Oh gosh, yeah.
um,
So he's cursed and vomiting and
yes, and so they do a greater restoration, working, Keyless and Pike both working on it. Now, in my mind, I thought they were each casting it, so it was 2 greater restoration spells. One that would have cured the curse, and one that would have cured his exhaustion. I don't know exactly how Matt ruled it, but it didn't matter because they weren't going anywhere at that point.
Yeah, and I think the way Matt ruled it was an assist by Keyleth to Pike.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me, is what happened.
So, I hope I get this name correctly. Lyonne in chat asked, "Is Goldrick Vax's companion now? Thoughts?" I don't know. Iron Ulysses throws out the possibility of Goldrick being his mount.
Now, I would argue against mount because paladins won't get their mount until level 5 in 5th edition when they get Find Steed.
Yes.
They can take the spell Find Steed. I mean, could be his mount earlier, I guess, for storytelling reasons.
Not only that, but the way Matt described Goldrick back when they first released him in the Stone Giant's fort, he's not big enough to be a mount for a medium-sized creature.
he seems very independent as well.
Yes.
I mean, that is definitely a highly intelligent wolf. I would argue that is a magically intelligent wolf, which could probably be better than Lucky Charms, which are magically delicious.
Yes. But, you know, at the same time, I don't... Because of how independent Goldrick is, I don't think that he's even a companion. I think he's recognizing that Vax has connected with the Raven Queen, and for that reason, it respects Vax now.
Yeah, we're pretty sure he was a dire wolf, from memory.
No, Matt specifically stated just a
He's
large,
just a wolf.
regular wolf.
Really though?
Yes.
Interesting.
Now, I would say his lifespan has probably been extended because, you know, having been the companion of the last Raven Queen's paladin. Yes, Iron Ulysses says awakened beast ? That's what I'm thinking.
Well, and the other thing too is that the gem that they're now using for Trinket, the Pokeball that we're calling it.
Yeah. No time passes.
No time passes there.
So
yeah, he's been in stasis for who knows how many years, thousands.
At least a few hundred. At least.
We'll have to see where it goes.
Which makes me think about it. Which really makes me chuckle every time I think about Trinket being in there. Because they act like Trinket gets bored in there. Guys, Trinket's not even conscious in there.
Yep. Akuma Mika says, I think it'd be awesome if it was a druid of the Raven Queen who, after spending thousands of years in the Pokeball, forgot it was in wild shape form. That would be amazing.
And then just one day it goes, wait on. Whoosh. Oh, that's better.
Okay, and John O'Brien has some breaking news for us, because in case we missed it, which a lot of us did, the MDA charity Critical Role Deadlands is going to be posted online because they passed the 70,000 milestone.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Congratulations, guys!
It's awesome.
Indeed.
Fantastic.
So, I didn't mention it in the pre-stream announcements because by the time this was going live, they were getting to the end of it. Friday and Saturday, they did a 24-hour MDA charity stream on Geek and Sundry. Started Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific, and it is just getting over. And just 70,000. Everybody who donated to that, everybody who watched it, everybody who spread the word about it. You guys are all just amazing people. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yes, back to the topic. Iron Ulysses says the Raven Queen wouldn't have expanded his lifespan. I'm not saying that he would have, or that the Raven Queen would have. When I said expanded lifespan, I was talking about him spending the time in the quote-unquote Pokeball. Has, in a sense, expanded his lifespan. Not necessarily that he is cheating death in that way.
Right, because while he's in that artifact, time didn't pass for him.
Correct.
So he could have gone in and out of that multiple times and for maybe extended periods at a time. So his lifespan, it has been expanded in that regard.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but yes, after that, Keyleth takes Pike off to go say their goodbyes, and talk about the confusion that they're both feeling as far as their love lives go.
I really liked this discussion because it gave us an insight into Pike, which we
Yes.
don't get a lot, and how she admitted that she is just as confused. She comes across as confident, which she doesn't really come across as confident, but I can see that she comes across as stable. I think is more
Yes.
more
Yeah,
what
I
they
agree, Kat.
cling to. And Pike's just like, look, I'm just as confused as you guys, and I love that.
Absolutely. And I really identified with Pike in that scene. While I was playing Adron in Desert Winds, everybody was like, hey, you're our leader. And I was like, the entire time, I'm sitting here going, oh shit, what do I do? Oh shit, what do I do? Oh shit, what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, I'm new to this whole thing, and yet I could see it, Akiva. I could see it while you were playing. I was like, yeah, he really doesn't feel like the leader.
I mean, I hope Adron handled it pretty well, but...
You did. You did. I mean, they were thrusting leadership upon you, and you picked it up and run with it, but at the same time, I was seeing the uncomfort of it all.
Yeah. And I don't even think I see Pike as a leader in the group, though. Like, she doesn't even come across as a leader, but more someone people turn to when they're off balance.
Exactly. And I mean, it may not necessarily be a leadership thing, but it is the same type of situation.
Yep.
People see you as being good at something, you don't necessarily feel that you are.
Yeah, you're sitting there, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yes. Um, and we edge a little bit closer to possibly finding out uh, who Pike's interest is, but then it backs up,
Yes.
and then Scanlan comes out.
Scanlan and tr- uh, and Grog both tried to get it out of her.
Well, that Gron comes later. I want to focus on the Scanlan Pike conversation. Um, Primarily because Scanlan did something that I never expected of him. He stood up, he realized that he was causing undue stress on Pike. And he told her, thinking about it, I'm not ready for this, you're not ready for this. I'm calling off the proposal.
It's off the table.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Ian says, "Oh, my heart."
yes.
It sounds like there was a few heartbreaks in this episode for a few people.
Now, one thing that I found annoying, and it happened. It happened back when Patrick Rothfuss was guesting as well. It seemed like Marisha stepped on another scene, or tried to at least.
She did. I don't know that she did it intentionally.
Yeah,
but she was stepping on the scene again.
Yeah, this one, it was a little more difficult to tell, because she was looking around, and I think what happened was, while Ashley was looking at Sam during the scene, she glanced over at Marisha, and Marisha took that as a cue of Pike was looking at Keyleth, trying for support or something.
That's what I thought. I think Marisha saw that look and went, "Oh crap! I've got to help you get out of this." And it came across really abrupt and probably in the wrong context, but I could see why she'd done it.
Yeah. It wasn't as heavy-handed as back with Patrick Rothfuss, but at the same time, it still it was awkward, and not in the cute Keyleth awkward way, or the organic Keyleth awkward way. It was very much a
almost pushed.
Oh yeah, it was overly forced.
Yeah, it was a bit abrupt.
As Yesenia says in chat, I think Matt called her on this too, which I'm happy about. And I also saw that Matt gave her kind of a look, and the moment he did that, she settled back a bit.
Yes.
So I think there was a bit of couple communication there. When you're with someone for a very long time, you just need to look at them and, okay, settle down, sweetie.
as Chronomancer Marie says, Marisha misread it, but I'm sure the majority of the viewers blew up about it anyway. And yeah.
Oh, sure, they do.
But, that's why we're here, so we can talk about it here without lashing out unnecessarily, because this isn't something that we don't need to be yelling at Marisha for.
Right.
Let them handle it. We'll just talk about it amongst ourselves.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that even really, really experienced improv players do it on occasion.
Yeah, it happens.
I was in improv groups from the beginning of my time at college until the time that I was in the Air Force, and actually then left the Air Force. And there would be times where we would be playing a long-form improv game, which basically, short form is what you see on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Long form takes the scene out and extends it a little bit more, and you can have more variations on themes and stuff. Critical Role is basically a long-form improv game. D&D in general is a long-form improv game. So it happens to people that have been playing a long time too, because you could be right in the middle of a moment and you have that pause because you're trying to think of what to say or how to continue the scene, and somebody comes walking out on stage as part of the long form improv, and they try to push it forward, but it kills the momentum that you had.
Yes.
So I mean that's happened a couple times to me. No fault on them. I'm not going to be mad at them because they thought the moment was right. It wasn't. We move on, and hopefully now we learn from it a little bit.
Indeed.
Right.
So they, continue the drinking and the goodbyes and such. And
I do.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
do just want to say really quickly between that Scanlan and Pike, my favorite line from Pike in it was it the hairy shoulders?
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
I just love that link. Sorry, I just had to bring that up. She just owns it.
Yes, she does. Ashley is so great about the yes and.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, they go out to a tavern and drink and celebrate and say their goodbyes and such. And during that, Pike gives Percy the locket or necklace or whatever it was that she had in her box.
Yes. Which at the time we thought was just a sweet whatever.
Oh, no, I immediately recognized it for what it was.
What? No, you really?
She pulled the box out from under her bed.
And it was lacy panties. No? Was it lacy panties? Damn it!
No.
I heard it wrong.
But no, she pulled the box out from under her bed, and when she said, "I pull out that box," she didn't say, "I pull out the box." She didn't say, "I pull out a box." She says, "I pull out that box," and that's what triggered me to, oh crap, that's the one that was under her bed, the one she was saving for someone special, and she gives it to Percy.
Oh.
I was way off. I was blinded by the Percy Vexalia ship.
Vexalia? No one saw this coming. Akiva.
I didn't see this one coming, and I know everything.
You do. I'm kind of scared.
But yeah, this it made it. Where were the clues?
I seriously, after that, I'm like, damn it, I have to watch the whole thing from episode 1.
So do I. 'Cause,
God damn.
Holy cow.
I have to do this now. Because she really indicated, she mentioned this right at the start. In one of the very first group interviews at Geek and Sundry, she said, yes, she has a thing for somebody else, or for somebody. If this connection goes all the way back to then,
We were all blinded to it. How?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back through, and you know what?
And what makes this? I was going to say real quick, Akiva. What makes this worse is that you had Army intelligence training and you missed it.
Yes.
Well, when it comes to the heart, I almost want to say that it's not Percy. I can't get my head around it. I kind of want to say that this necklace, giving it to Percy, was so that she can keep an eye on something else.
She could keep an eye on that person.
I know, that's what she said.
So if you use the medallion, the whatever it was, the necklace of some sort, use that as a scrying focus. The center of that focus is going to be Percy. She's guaranteed to see Percy. Whatever state he's in, she's guaranteed to see Percy.
Oh boy.
But wow. So I am going to go back and I'm going to see if the clues were there, or if it's one of those things where they just sort of sat back and said, we're going to let this happen behind the scenes.
Perhaps.
And
Did you see Taliesin's face?
yes, he
That
was
dropped.
surprised by this.
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah,
was very
and-
contemplative, almost like, how am I going to handle this now?
Yes.
Now, see, the chat is talking about, Pike being on the boat that pulled Percy out of the water or something, but he was in prison when Vox Machina met him.
Yes. And
And that happened all pre-stream, and pre-stream, Pike was on the ship that she was on, learning how to be a badass, learning how to be a monster.
yes. But at the same time, John O'Brien points out there may have been moments pre-stream between Pike and Percy that we never saw. So
Right. And I'm taking those at face value. We don't know what those were. They do. We do not.
Totem Cyclinic says, I also think that she's not into Percy. It's just that for the past 3 to 4 episodes when they were out of combat, Percy is the only one that acts as an adult. So maybe she's scrying him because she trusts him, or maybe she wants to keep an eye on him because she doesn't trust him.
Not with the way
Or
she
she
said
wants
to
to
Grog.
look after everybody else.
It's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
I cannot rule out that possibility. However, Grog asked point blank, "Is there anyone you want me to keep an eye on?" And she said, in reference while they were talking about who she liked.
Yep.
And she said, "I've already given him something so I can keep an eye on him."
Yep.
We will have to wait and see.
Yep.
I feel like it's given us more questions than answers, but...
I don't know. But either way, Percy had finished the seat for Vex's broom, and Scanlon gives her the hat, calling in the debt.
Yep. This was brilliant by Sam.
Yes.
So that debt that we had, it's even if you'll wear this hat.
Every time you use the broom.
And then Vex was like, what, this hat? What, this? Nah, that's no problem, darling.
Oh. So.
It was the best.
Indeed. But, after that, they go and rest up. And then they head out to leave for the Fay Wild and say their final goodbyes. We get a little brother-sister moment from Percy and Cassandra. They say their goodbyes, and they enter the Fay Wild, focusing on Grog's memory of the time he spent with the nymph.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of concern, at least in the Geek and Sundry chat, about trusting the memory of Grog to get them where they wanted to go.
Yes, which we can talk about in DM's Corner. Oh, sorry, in relation to the Fay Wild, because... Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in our wrap-up, which we can go ahead and start.
Oh, cool.
But yes, they say their goodbyes because Ashley is going to be starting up Blind Spot again. I thought that was starting not next week, but the week after. But since there's no Critical Role next week, it makes sense.
Sorry, not sorry.
So, but yeah, going to the... Oh, Arrow Runner is yelling at me. As part of the goodbyes, Gilmore says to Vax, "Fly high, my bird." And it's a beautiful little goodbye.
Oh! Perfect way to end it.
So I'm sorry for not mentioning that, Arrow Runner. But yeah, it was a beautiful little scene. So, thoughts about the Fay Wild?
Go, Kalia.
Did Kalia drop?
Oh, have we lost Kalia? Oh no,
We did.
not again. Okay, if you get her back, I'll jump into my thoughts.
Okay, calling her back.
The Fay Wild. Okay. So the Fay Wild, I'm actually quite excited. I think that this is going to be really interesting. Matt has almost a sick way of just playing with people's minds and thoughts and just leading them into traps and just bringing them. We've seen that so many times, and this is the perfect place for him to really just play with their minds. So I'm really keen to see where he goes with it. There's been some questions in relation to, are they going to hold, like, is he going to have the whole time warp thing kick in with the Fay Wild?
It's quite possible.
It is possible.
So yeah, just a quick pause. Kalia's router is apparently in the middle of a reset, so
Oh, no.
it may be a few minutes. But so just to explain what the Feywild is, real quick. This is essentially the plane of nature. Time is not set in stone in the Feywild. It can go faster, it can go slower, it can stop. You could be in the Feywild for what you think is 2 seconds, and 4,000 years have passed on the prime material plane. However, you could also go to the Feywild and be there for what you think is 2 seconds, or for what you think is 2 years, rather, and you leave the Feywild watching yourself enter the Feywild.
Yeah.
So, who knows with that?
With this said, that is definitely up to the DM. You don't have to have the time warp feature attached to your Feywild in your campaign. It's completely up to you. Someone on Reddit says, I think it's Daphydd on Reddit said, Matt stated that he specifically chose not to use the flow of time layer ability with Adrasphinx due to its unfair game-breaking plots and impacts. In turn, he also feels that Matt will choose not to use time warp in his Feywild execution. I think that Matt could implement a little bit of a time warp application to the whole journey. I don't think he's going to do something like, you come out and 3 years have passed, because that's just going to completely kill his entire dragon plot.
Yes. Now, what I can see happening is we get a good 4, 5, maybe even 6 episodes of them in the Feywild, only to find out that a day has passed in the real world. In
the main plane, yeah.
Yes.
I'll probably be more of that belief.
And Kalia's back, yay!
Yay, hi,
I am
Kalia.
back. Yeah, my internet has been dropping tonight. I apologize, you guys.
Oh no.
So, what are your thoughts on the Feywild?
So I've been doing a lot of reading about the different planes, partially because my Friday night game, my character is starting to venture into the void, which is also a D&D plane, but we're not actually playing D&D core system. So I've been reading every possible source that I can get about the various planes, just so I can start wrapping my head around some of this stuff and what I can find there. So looking at the Feywild, basically this is the more twisted pieces of nature. So you could go directly from prime material plane into the Feywild, and it could look pretty much the same as what you would see in the prime material plane, but where say Whitestone Castle is, there could be something completely different there.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a Fay Castle. There could be there could be a giant grove in its place that is influencing the things around it on the prime material plane.
Yep.
So it's going to be really interesting, I think, to see what Matt brings out of those aspects. And not only that, but you've got some... I mean, if you take a look at some of the Fae, granted, the Monster Manual, the only evil listed Fae is the Hag. In previous Monster Manuals, there used to be pretty much variant evil Fae for pretty much every Fae that you could find. Pixies and fairies and all of that stuff. And, of course, you can still have that. But
yes.
Yeah.
But the Monster Manual, the only ones that are listed as evil, as of this printing of the Monster Manual, are hags.
Yes,
night hags, sea hags.
But again, what's listed in the Monster Manual is only a generality.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is
and that's why I'm keeping that in mind.
Yes, and most Fae are neutral.
Right.
They're not good, they're not evil, they're neutral. They will do what they think is what they want to do.
neutral and tricky, and they like to have fun.
Yes. John O'Brien says that he saw someone on Reddit suggest Singorn may be advanced by months or years, and Vex and Vax's sister could be all grown up.
That would be interesting.
Oh,
That would be an interesting little twist. I hope they do actually get to Singorn.
That would be really cool. I want to see Singorn.
Yes.
I want to see this asshole dad that we've been hearing so much about.
I want them to have a knockdown, drag out fight with their father. Because
I mean,
with all of the build up that and all of the backstory that they have revealed about their father, it needs to go that way. And I don't necessarily mean, kill him. I mean, stand up to him.
Sure.
But
you never really find resolution in those kinds of interactions normally, but I would still like to see it happen. More than them.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the resolution isn't going to come from the fight. It's going to come from the act of standing up to him.
Yes.
The act of overcoming that aspect of their past.
Sure.
So the other thing that we're probably going to see in the Fay Wild is, and I don't know if you guys talked about this since I disconnected, but you've got the two different courts in the Fay Wild, the Seelie and the Unseelie courts. And the Unseelie is the Dark Fay. That's going to, and the way that the DMG describes it here, is that's going to be more like, do you guys remember Sleeping Beauty, the Disney Sleeping Beauty?
Yes.
Where the castle got basically entangled in the rose bushes and thorns and brambles and everything.
Yes.
That's the way the terrain is described in the DMG as being in the Unseelie court. The Seelie court is going to be beautiful and everything. So I'm curious where they're going to come out. Are they going to come out in Seelie or Unseelie courts?
Well, he did describe it very neutral. It sounded like that he popped into just a forest with all of the little buds of light and everything like that. It looked like a very standard forest within the Fae from how he described it. I'd definitely like them to be interacting with the courts. I think the idea of those courts, I love. However, I do want to stress it's Matt's Fay Wild.
Right.
And I'm kind of interested to see how vanilla he sticks.
Yes.
With it.
Right.
Now, Arrow Runner, talking about the real world, our world, fairy tales, says that the Fae are usually lawful neutral, follow rules set, and learn how to talk around them. Um, and then John O'Brien brings up that the Seelie and Unseelie courts, and this is again referring to the real world fairy tales, refer to the summer and winter She.
Right.
The summer and winter Fae. The in both cases, both the D&D cases and the real world fairy tales, that doesn't necessarily mean that the Seelie courts are the good courts and the Unseelie courts are the evil courts.
Right.
They're both
I mean,
neutral.
Looking at previous literature that we have, I'm thinking in particular Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yes.
That was
Oh,
the
love
Seelie
that.
court of the Fae. That was the Seelie court, but they were still very devious.
So one of the reasons why I was a little bit concerned about utilizing Grog's memory of this interaction in the Fay Wild, there's a thing called memory loss. That's an optional thing that you can apply to dealing with the Fay Wild, where
Right.
if you exit the Fay Wild, you have to, I forget what the check is, but you have to roll a check, and you could possibly lose all memory of your time in the Fay Wild.
I'm looking at it right now. Creature that leaves the Feywild must make a DC 10 Wisdom saving throw. Fey creatures automatically succeed on the saving throw, as do any creatures like elves that have the Fey ancestry trait. Creature that fails the saving throw remembers nothing from its time spent in the Feywild. On a successful save, the creature's memories remain intact but are a little hazy. Any spell that can end a curse can restore the creature's lost memories.
All right.
And the other side of it is there's no real rules on what bonuses being given a heart of a Fae would do. So,
Right.
considering Grog was given the heart of the nymph, it's quite possible that he does still have those memories.
Perhaps. Well, they made it in there okay. So
Yeah, and
I'm not sure.
from what Matt described, that sounds like a Seelie court location.
Right. Yeah.
I had forgotten about the description when they were leaving.
Yeah. Now, it'll be interesting to find whether or not the bow that they're after, whether that's in an area controlled by the Seelie or Unseelie, because the Unseelie court are a little more harsh in their dealings with outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's not that they're evil necessarily, but if they decide they don't like you, they won't put up with any of your shit. So, but that would be something interesting to see when it happens in 2
Yes.
weeks.
A couple of things that I think someone in chat also said this, but the Dresden Files are
Yes,
apparently a
the
good
Never Never.
resource. And Heroes of the Feywild. I haven't read that, but I'm going to try to locate a copy because that sounds fantastic. Heroes of the Feywild is another book that you can read.
Indeed. Dresden Files is rather interesting because it does take a lot from actual real-world mythos into account. So it's a good reference, especially if you're trying to run, say, what is... Oh, I'm brain farting. The Cyberpunk D&D...
Shadow...
Shadowrun.
Run.
Shadowrun.
Yes. If you're
I
running a
always forget the name,
Shadowrun
and I
game,
love Shadowrun.
if you're trying to do a Shadowrun game, Dresden Files is immensely useful for drawing inspiration from, because Dresden Files takes place in modern day Earth setting. So, but I think it's time for us to go ahead and move on to our DM's corner.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
So, what you were talking about at the beginning of this episode sort of goes into game preparation versus campaign preparation. How you were talking about wanting to tell your story with Desert Winds and then finally loosening up.
Right.
So I wanted to talk a little bit on what you guys do differently when preparing for an individual game versus when you prepare for the overall story for the campaign.
So for me, since I'm running that one shot tomorrow, everything is a little bit more completed, I guess, is the only way to put it. I've got a lot more writing actually done on a one shot than I do on the campaign. And I think the reason for that is because the one shot is set to be a finite, here is the end of the adventure, here is the end of the encounter, etc. So I go in and I write, okay, here's this puzzle that's going to happen here, here's the checks that need to happen, here's NPCs that they can meet, and I've got the adventure laid out such that I can progress through it. Now, I keep in mind that no plan survives first contact with the enemy.
Or the players.
Or the players.
Players are not our enemies.
Players are not my enemy. They are not our enemies. But it was a good analogy. So I know that when I go in to do this one shot tomorrow, my players are going to throw stuff at me, especially because they're new players. They have no idea what to expect out of D&D. They came in, they made characters with me. I didn't even really explain their roles that they're going to be making and stuff to them. That's going to all be done in the course of the game tomorrow. I just wanted them to have an idea of who their character was so that they could come in tomorrow and be wearing that persona. So I've got all of this stuff prepped and ready to go, but they may throw most of it out the window just because I've told them, you guys can do anything. For the campaign, it's a little bit looser because we're going to build on things as we go. And characters that they encountered previously are going to come back and refigure into the events.
So how would just to focus the question a little more, how would you prepare, or what's the difference between preparing the campaign of Desert Winds versus preparing for a session of Desert Winds?
Okay, so the campaign for Desert Winds has the more writing in it. I guess I've got a very focused and detailed story that is going on in the backside that you guys are getting revealed to you. But from session to session, we pick up where we left off, and I'm perfectly happy at this point to let you guys role play as much as you need to. And then I have a broad stroke. I want this to happen during this session. And then I go for it.
Okay.
So, like, the enemies, maps, things like that have been prepared where they're needed, where I know that they're absolutely going to be needed. Otherwise, I run an improv game.
Okay. Kat, how about you?
Game prep versus campaign prep. I mean, it's a very broad topic, and at the end of the day, every session is dictated by your players. You don't know where they're going to go. So at the end of each session, I definitely prep from session to session. I have an idea of what's happening in the entire world event, but as Kalia said, if you've got like this very specific story, don't expect your characters to stick to that story because you're going to be very disappointed, and then you're going to constantly try to knock them back into that story, and they're going to feel restricted, and it's just all going to fall apart. So I definitely prep session to session, if that's your question.
So, for me, if you don't mind me jumping in now,
Go for it.
Go ahead.
For me, when I prep a campaign, there's two questions that I ask. Who is my big bad evil guy, and what does he want to accomplish?
Yep.
And
I've asked those same questions for Desert Winds.
Yeah. And really, that's the only one or the only campaign prep that I personally go through. Because the game, the individual sessions, to me, are more important.
Yeah.
Getting to the big bad evil guy, all of that falls on the players because they're going to go where they want to, regardless of how much I try to railroad
them.
Yes, cat herd them. That's the word I'm looking for. So I do more preparation for an individual game than I do for a campaign, because with the game preparation, I have to sort of guess on what story hooks my players may pick up on, which ones they may chase down. And then I also have to think about, just the general area that they're in, because they may decide we're going to ignore all the story hooks and we're going to create our own by going off to the left when all the story hooks are right and center.
Right. That's why, I think I do more preparation for the individual game session rather than the campaign. I know what's going on in the background of Desert Winds. It's stuff that I think about just when my brain is not processing. Do I write it down? No, because it's something that I've been working on for so long that it's ingrained in my head. And there's always things. We've had new players come into Desert Winds. That's changed the dynamic quite a lot. So the story had to change to adapt to those new players coming in too, a little bit. But like you, Akiva, going through acting classes, and just about any character that you play or any writing assignment that you're trying to do, who am I? What do I want? What am I willing to do to get it?
Yep.
If you keep asking those three questions again and again about your NPCs, about your big bad evil guy, if you keep asking those questions, your campaign will find itself very well filled.
Yes.
And any session that you run, very well filled.
Yep. And the only backside or back end of all of that is make sure that you yourself are taking notes on what the characters did and what your NPCs have done, because that's going to tell you what does the big bad evil guy know.
Yep.
And then you can judge, well, this is how he's going to react.
And one of the other things that I'll do too, or that I've done with Desert Winds, is I will go back a day or two later, or maybe before we have our session in Desert Winds, and I will watch the previous week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because even as a DM, there's things that
I
I've
wish
missed.
I had that available.
Well, if nothing else, bring a tape recorder.
Yep.
Oh gosh, no. No, it's fine. I take a lot of notes. It's definitely something that you get better at doing.
Yeah, I am horrible at taking notes, so even if I've stopped broadcasting my Sweet Suffering game, but I do still record it for my own playback purposes.
Gotcha.
I stopped posting it primarily because there were other issues going on in life, and it was showing in the game, and I didn't want to bring that out. But yeah, no, definitely, if it is useful, but notes function just as well. It's just whatever you're more comfortable with.
Whatever works for you.
So.
Yeah, I'm perfectly comfortable running a completely improv game because you guys bring me stuff with Desert Winds every week that I'm like, all right, let's play with this. Let's roll with it. I'm doing the improv thing and I'm playing the game. I'm finding the game and I'm playing the game that you guys are giving to me.
Yes. And I have to say, that is one of the great things about being a DM. Not only are we, playing a game with our players, but based off of our notes, we have the secondary game of how is the bad guy reacting.
Yep. So or how is the world reacting because you guys are taking so long to get that stone back. And now, okay, the world is dying. Tsunamis are happening in this area.
Yep. So, any final words on that, Kat?
No, I think we've covered it.
All right, so that will bring us to the end of the episode. If you guys enjoyed the episode, make sure you click that like button. It helps us more than you know. The way YouTube works, the more likes we get on a video, the more people may see it, the more people will become critters and possibly join us.
Can I throw something in here really quick?
Oh, go ahead.
I was on Twitch today, went into another person's Twitch channel that I go into and watch every so often. And somebody in that Twitch chat called me out and said, Cosmic Candy? The Cosmic Candy? Kalia? ? And I said, the very one. And he said, I watched you from Gilmore's Glorious Gossip. I am so-and-so on Twitter. And I would have to look up his name again. It's Tank something. I apologize. I do not remember it. I had a lot going on. I was helping people create characters today. But he recognized me, just the name. Aww. So thank you guys for spreading the love. That meant a lot to me.
You critters are amazing people. Thank you for joining. I don't think we say this often enough. Thank you we really do love having you guys here. So thank you for joining us.
Our show is better for you guys being here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without you guys here, it would just be the three of us having a conversation, and
which would be fun.
It would be fun, but not nearly as fun.
But not nearly as fun.
So I mean, you guys are what make doing this podcast worth it. So thank you.
100%.
So as I said, hit that like button so more people, or so YouTube will push it out to more people, and we can grow the critter community even further. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. That'll tell you when we go live each and every week. Send any of your D&D questions to us using the hashtag DMsCorner. If you want to submit art, you can contact us via Twitter, either using the official Twitter of @Gilmore_Gossip, or you can contact any one of the three hosts directly. I'm Akiva David @AKIVADAPHYDD.
I'm @Cosmic Candy, COSMICCANDI.
And I'm Kitten Smitten G, KITTENSMITTENG.
We hope you enjoyed, and until next week, kick back, relax, and enjoy your games.
May all your hits be crits.
And have a nat 20 day.